Welcome to the Knowledge for Men show. Your life will never be the same.
Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development.
I want to die empty of regret. I want to die empty of my best work. We don't understand who we are. Instead, we're living out somebody else's narrative.
What one man can do, another man can do. If it's been done, it can be done again.
Being yourself and being your truest, most authentic self in every moment. If it scares you or makes you a little afraid, do it. Follow your heart and your gut.
The first stage, I think, is finding you, like finding out who I am today.
Stuff will not work. You will have things that fail. Success is when you're a happy, fulfilled person. How do you define success?
It's your life, and you are the creator of the movie script that is your life story.
Hey guys, Andrew Ferebee here, and just wanted to give you guys all an update on how things are going here with Knowledge for Men. It's really been an incredible past few years. I mean, I really couldn't have asked for anything better. And just first of all, thank you for those of you who listen to the show consistently. And I know there are many of you guys who only listen to this show. And that means a lot to me because there are a ton. There's over 250,000 podcasts out there, 250,000 plus podcasts out there. And for you to listen to this show and take time out of your day, it tells me that you're finding value in this, and it means a lot to me. I work, really hard on this show, trying to get the guests, interviewing the guests, and trying to ask the best questions to really have a compelling show for you guys. Thank you for listening. And if you have had an awesome story just from listening to the show to where you are now, some sort of transformation, I'm always all ears. Just go ahead and email andrew@knowledgeformen.com. Or just go to knowledgeformen.com and click on the contact button. Basically, this whole podcast began in November 18th, 2013. Okay, so we're 2.5 years in now. Podcast has over 2.5 million downloads from over 100 countries. Also have a YouTube channel. The YouTube just broke over 1 million views a couple weeks ago. I've written 2 Amazon best-selling books, The Dating Playbook for Men, a proven 7-step system to go from single to the woman of your dreams, and also The Breakup Manual for Men, how to recover from a serious breakup, become stronger, and get back into life. I'm actually currently working on a 3rd book called The Porn Pandemic, a simple guide to ending pornography and masturbation addiction and getting back into the real world. So that's in the making right now. You'll probably hear about it in the coming month or 2. And aside from the books, I've coached hundreds of men, helping them break through their challenges, limiting beliefs, barriers, and really overcome their fears to help men become stronger and more powerful so that they can go on and create the life they want and create the businesses that they want, have the careers that they want, get into a deep and loving relationship with a woman that truly rocks their world, or improve their existing relationships, or just help men become stronger men so that they can really feel like they're enough and that they can really go after and create the things they want in their lives. In 2015, led 50 plus men in intensive retreats here in San Diego, where I essentially break men down and rebuild them back up into leaders of men over the course of 3 days. And I'm living here on the beach in San Diego, California. Like, life is really good, and it's been an awesome journey, to say the least, full of a lot of lessons. But this is where I am now, and I want to take you to where all of this began, just to start off where this all started. It was 2012. And I had a corporate job working at a major retailer. And this was it. I thought that this was it back then. When I was working that job, I was managing this store. There was 75, 80 employees or something that I was in charge of. It was a $60 million store. And it was paying me good. I was getting bonuses almost like every 4 to 6 months and a raise, a promotion. Things were looking good. I had the benefits. I thought that this was life. I thought that I had achieved, quote unquote, the American dream. I did everything right. Went to school. I was a leader on campus, got good grades, worked my way up from, getting a job. And I found myself in a good place on paper. If you were to look at everything, my life on paper, I had a girlfriend at the time. I did what I was supposed to do. And I worked really hard at it. But I found myself inside hurting. I was in a lot of pain going to work. And I knew that something was wrong when I would drive 45 miles an hour on the freeway when everyone else is going 80, because I only lived about 15 minutes away from work and I wanted to prolong that drive. And so this was one of the first signs where I knew I was out of alignment. It's not that having a job was bad. I'm not against having a career. I think it's great. I was just in a position that was out of alignment with who I was and with what I wanted in life. And that led me to question, what am I doing? And I asked myself this question here that changed everything. And I think guys just don't ask this question enough. I think that if you wait 20 years to ask yourself this question, you're going to have some regrets. And it was this: what do I really want? That's it. What do I really want? Because so much of our life, we actually spend it answering other people's wants, serving other people's wants. And you've got to do what you got to do. There are times when you just got to help other people. But at some point, you've got to just look inward and ask yourself, what do I really want? What is it that makes me come alive? What about me? Because you're the one living in the body. You're the one who has to wake up and do the thing that you're going to do. You're the one who's going to have that relationship. You're the one who has to live in that body. You're the one who's watching TV on the weekends, at nights. You're the one who lives it. And until you really ask yourself and sit down and just write on a piece of paper, what do I really want? And you just stare at that for an hour with a paper and pen alone. That hour will have the power to change your life. Because what I wrote was completely different than what I was actually living. And I knew something had to change. I knew that this couldn't go on, that I couldn't just do this for my life. Also, at this time, I was going through a breakup. It was a serious breakup, and I guess when I say serious, I mean that it wasn't like a fling. It wasn't a girl that I was dating. It was a girl that I was with for years and that I had hoped to marry at some point. And that breakup put me in rock bottom. Even just right now, as I'm talking about it, I can't believe when it finally happened. I just remember crawling on the floor, crying, crying so bad that it's more like sobbing. You have stuff coming out of your nose and your eyes. It's like you got a swimming pool on the floor of tears. Really hurt and in a lot of pain. And it really put me in a position where I was at rock bottom. There's this quote. It says, "If pain must come, may it come quickly, because I have a life to live, and I need to live it in the best way possible. If he has to make a choice, may he make it now." And that's by Paulo Coelho. And so I knew that I had to make some decisions. And I went and quit my job. And it wasn't this easy thing, but after the breakup, I really felt like there was, what's holding me back here? I'm the only one holding myself back. What's really the worst that can happen? And really accepting change in our life. Lao Tzu says, life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. And for me to stay in the job, that would be me resisting what my heart is telling me. For me to stay in that relationship, that would be me resisting the friction, all the challenges in that relationship, that the relationship served its purpose for the time and stage of my life that I was in, but I was growing. I was going in this other direction, and so was she. And for me to try and force that relationship to work or force the job to work, I'd be fighting and climbing an uphill battle. And I had been doing it for already, maybe a year at that time. And it's like, something's got to give. That resistance is just you're going to slip and fall down. And what happens when you fall down, when you've been climbing up a hill, is you come crashing down with everything. It all comes crashing down and you fall down fast. And so I gathered up my savings. I planned on working for about a couple more months. I ended up trying to quit. I remember 3 months after I decided I was going to quit, they gave me a raise. And so I was like, all right, I just stayed because I needed the money, because I knew that I needed a runway to do something. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I needed a runway so that I could do something, so I could buy some more time. So I stayed another 3 months before I finally quit. And I remember when I did quit, when I drove home, it was this liberating feeling. Windows down. It was the summer of 2013. It was hot here in San Diego on the freeway, blasting music and just singing. And this was the first taste of life that I had had in years. It was like I was breathing in freedom with every breath. And I was happy. So when I quit my job, I found myself in a position after about 2 weeks where I realized, what the fuck? What did I just do? You know, it's exciting at first, but when reality kicks in, you just quit your job. You worked your entire life really to get to that point, and you just left it. And it makes you feel like you just wasted a lot of college. It makes you feel like you wasted a lot of time and effort and energy climbing up that ladder. In college, in the corporate job, it makes you feel like it was all a waste. Looking back, I realized that none of it was a waste, and that it was all a part of the journey, and that every piece of that journey served with it invaluable lessons that gave me the courage to quit, to make me realize that I could do something on my own. And at this time, I was already working on personal development. I had been reading for a long time, and that's why, since 19 years old, the first book I ever read was Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins. Changed my life. So that's a part of why I felt so out of alignment, because I was reading all this good stuff. Just like maybe you're listening to this podcast and you listen to all these episodes of these guys, or when I always ask guys about the books they're reading, maybe you go out and buy those books and you read them too, and you realize that you're living like a doppelganger life, where you have this other version of you that's excited to learn, that's excited to grow, that's excited for life. And then in reality, you're not. You're not what you read. You are not that person. That's how I felt. That I knew there was something that I could do. I knew that life could be so much more exciting, that life could be this beautiful experience of life, that it was possible. When I read those books, that's what I learned. And I hope that's what this podcast does for you. Just shows you there's another way, that you don't have to live a mundane life, that you can actually go after your dreams and you can achieve them. That was something I didn't really realize. I thought, you just do, you're listening to your parents or your friends, and your level of success is proportional to the level of people you hang out with. And when you're only hanging out with people who are doing the same damn thing every day, that's all you're going to know. And so books to me, podcasts to me, audiobooks to me was almost an escape. It was like, look at these people here. Is this real? It was like I was at a museum and I'm looking through the window at a different way of life. Like you're at the zoo. You look at these animals. It's like, whoa, look at this. This is real. And then you just go back to your life. And so I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to learn. I knew that I wanted to grow. So I traveled the country. I picked up my bags and I traveled all around the United States, going to different personal growth events, using meetup.com and just going to anything I could that was related to spirituality, that was related to entrepreneurship, that was related to personal development. I was in. I was 100% in, and I had the biggest smile on my face when I showed up at these events. I saw Tony Robbins. I did dating programs. I was investing in coaching. I was challenging myself in every way possible. And during this time, since I was single, I was working on my dating life. I was just talking to, not so that I could, take her home, this or that, but because it was a challenge, because it was something new. And every time I did it, it made me feel alive. It made me feel excited. It made me want to just keep doing it because I was breaking the barriers of what I thought was possible in my life. I didn't know you could do this. It wasn't about the girl. It wasn't about the number. It was about challenging myself And of course, in that process, you end up dating a lot of girls. You end up learning a lot. You end up growing a lot. You end up having a new skill set where you're able to connect with others. And all of that is basically in the dating playbook for men, that whole journey of working on my dating life. I share everything. And then also, during this process, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was overcoming the breakup. The breakup was very painful. I said I was sobbing. I said that I had like boogers coming out of my nose, and I was, a puddle of tears on the carpet. I couldn't even move. I couldn't get out of bed. It felt like I had been paralyzed, the breakup. But having used the pain as fuel to push me further and create a life that I never even thought was possible. I was actually living what I read, and it felt right. It felt aligned. I felt clear. I wasn't just talking about personal development. I was personal development. I was growing. I was challenging myself. I didn't just think about what I wanted to do. I was doing what I wanted to do. And so I improved my dating life tremendously. And I had overcome the breakup through travel, by reading, through challenging myself, by understanding that there's more than one woman in the world that I can create this feeling with, that there's not just one person in the world, and that you can love again. And that there are even, there are even better women. There are even women who understand you, who can connect with you, who support you, who want to give you space and freedom and are into personal development and want to help you grow into a better man. And that's possible to find. And I didn't know that because you only know what you know. That's it. You only know what you know. And that's why personal development is so awesome, because it expands what you do know. And it's a lifelong journey. You'll never get to a place and say, you know what, I'm done, and you plant your flag. It's like if you're climbing Mount Everest, you can get to the top and actually plant your flag and say, I'm done. But with personal development, that mountain is never ending. There's just new peaks, and you can plant your flag and say you're done, but there's a new peak. There's always a new peak to climb. You're never done. And I like this quote. This is by Augustine of Hippo. The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page. I'm going to say that again because I really like it. The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page. And that's what traveling did for me. It opened up my world. It opened up my life. And it taught me what it meant to be free. Because I felt alive for the first time since I was a kid. I remember being a kid, biking down the road, just being totally alive with friends, just screaming when it's raining, just riding your bikes with friends, just in circles around the block. That's living. Those kids, when I was doing that, we were all living. That's life. And I had lost that. I had lost that childlike, playful sense of life. And when I was traveling around the world, it came back. When I quit my job, it came back. When I was driving on the freeway with windows down, listening to music when I had just quit during the summer of 2013, I was alive. I was truly living. I mean, really living intentionally, where every hour is amazing. Every day is intentionally lived. And so this leads me to where I started writing and journaling what I was learning on this journey of traveling, of reading the books, attending personal growth events, coaching, challenging myself. When you work on your dating life, I mean, it teaches you so much. You learn so much because it is so scary. And to say that I've overcome that fear of talking to girls, it really has never gone away. Even today, having talked to thousands of women, I still am scared when I go talk to them. And that's a part of that journey is you learn to live and keep walking despite being scared and afraid. And it's not about becoming fearless. It's about becoming courageous. So I shared what I was learning on a blog, knowledgeformen.com, and it just started taking off. Because I was writing with everything I had. I would spend a week on an article. I wouldn't write an article in an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours at most for most bloggers. I spent a week, 10 hours a day on one article. And many of those articles went on to get They went viral, to say the least. I think it's like if you get over 10,000 visits, like it's going viral, something like that. But these articles, I was getting 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. I remember my website crashed. I have one article that went on to get over 250,000 views in just a few days. So that's where Knowledge for Men started. That journey. And what's funny is you might think like, oh, Andrew's succeeding at this point. Oh, this is great. But no, I may have been alive, but then you reach reality where you run out of money because a blog's not a business. A blog can help a business, definitely, but a blog alone is not a business. I ran out of money and I was broke and had to come home, and I was living on my brother's couch, and he had suggested that I start a podcast because he was listening to them. He thought that it would be a good idea. And so I did. In November, this was in October 2013, and then November 18th, it was about 5-6 weeks later, I had launched my first episode. I just went all in. And so what's interesting is a lot of people will ask, like, how did I get these guests? I was this young guy, really not a lot of experience, didn't have a lot of connections, but how did you get these high-profile guests on your show, especially when you first start? Well, since I had overcome my fears around dating and really worked on that and felt comfortable accepting rejection and was courageous, I was able to just reach out to everyone. I wasn't scared of rejection. That's really what it is people have a limit on what they think they can do. And when you can remove that limit and remove that barrier of what you think you can do, you can really do some amazing things in your life, whatever it is. And so I reached out to Robert Greene, one of my favorite authors of Mastery, 48 Laws of Power, 50th Law. I mean, one of my favorite authors, like of all time. Like if I could talk to one person, like that would be one person I wanted to talk to. And he responded. I was able to get Jordan Belfort from The Wolf of Wall Street. I thought he had a crazy story and that he had learned a lot. Despite what people say, him being, his story, he still learned a lot. And I want those lessons. I want to learn those. I want to share those. T. Harv Eker. That episode has hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube. And that T. Harv Eker episode is one of the most powerful ones. But he's one of my favorite authors. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. He's just an awesome speaker. Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. He's worth over $400 million. I got that guy on my show. You can listen to that episode. I got Tony Hsieh, the CEO of Zappos. He sold Zappos to Amazon for $1 billion. And it was this idea of just following my curiosity. Who do I want to get on my show? Where do I want to spend my time, my energy? What can I do? What can I create? How can I make this just amazing for my listeners? And that's what I did. And that's what I've continued to do. So the podcast was almost very similar to the blog, where it blew up, got a lot of downloads, got a lot of subscribers. But despite the success of the blog and the podcast, I was still broke. You would think that by now something would give. And so I'm really just living on fumes. Like I've got no money. I'm maxing out credit cards. And I had to figure out what I was going to do. Like I almost gave up. Like there was this point when I was about to go, I was going out to meet some friends and I tried to withdraw a $20, just $20. So I could buy something, right? Buy a drink or some food. And the ATM said insufficient funds because I only had $14.63 to my name. That was it. And I thought that it was over. I thought that I had failed. And I was like, why didn't I do this? Why, you start rethinking your past. Like, why was I doing this? Why was I spending time there? And you start being really hard on yourself, which puts you in a negative self-talk where you're angry with yourself. And it doesn't help anything. Nothing good happens when you're in negative self-talk. Nothing good will ever happen in negative self-talk. You'll only beat yourself up. And there's no reason to beat yourself up because you're the only one who can get you out of that situation. So why beat up the only person who can help you? Yourself. And so there comes a point in everyone's journey when you have to own what you're about. A test, a challenge, a ritual. Because here I am blogging and podcasting about all this stuff about success and overcoming failure, and here I am failing. And I could have gone and got a job. It would have been easy for me. I had developed a lot of skills. I had learned so much. I could have gone and got a good, comfy job and maybe podcasted on the side, but I probably would have felt really bad about it. And this point in your life, when you have to choose, what are you going to do? Do you really have what it takes to be who you want to be? Or are you just a talker? Do you preach to others, but you don't do what you tell others? Because I see a lot of that. And I know that story all too often. Because when you can own that, when you can really own what you're about, when you can become what you're about, that's when you are stepping into the most powerful version of yourself. That's it. And as you know, I gave it one last hurrah. I said, laying down in my bed, because obviously I didn't go out that night, didn't want to be embarrassed not having any money, that this is it. That I'm going to give it everything that I have. And I'm going to go down knowing that there wasn't one last breath inside of me. There wasn't one piece of energy that I didn't expel into trying to make this work. Because I had to prove to myself, and I wanted to be able to prove to my listeners, to you guys, that I could do it, that I can walk this talk, and that I'm not just someone who motivates others and helps other people become successful, but that I am myself someone who can overcome deep adversity, challenges, pain, fear, and that I can step into who I want to be, and that I can be that man that I really want to be. And so I went all in and gave it everything that I had. Relentless work. And that was in 2015 when I fully, this was late 2014 and then all of 2015 when I just went all in. And I'm happy to say that that it worked. That the business had grown and that I had made more money than I'd ever made in my life. And that I have 2 Amazon bestsellers that sell hundreds of copies a month. I coach hundreds of men and have received priceless testimonials from men from living in a place of where I was, or living in a place of pain, now living their best life ever. I mean, I've had guys say that they were really contemplating suicide. And that from working with me, that I had saved their life. And that guys had been seeing therapists for decades or many years and had not made any progress. And just in a few weeks working with me, they were able to break through. And having led 50 plus men in men's retreats, sharing men the journey that I had gone on and teaching them the lessons that I had learned and helping them rise up was a priceless experience. And so that was the journey. You know, there was this quote that is all too simple, but it's what kept me going. And it's by Winston Churchill. He says, when you're going through hell, keep going. And that's what I whispered in the back of my ear. That's what I whispered when I was at the gym. That's what I whispered when I woke up and I didn't want to get out of bed. That's what I whispered when I was eating and I wasn't looking forward to the next hour. Keep going. A little whisper in the back of my head, a little voice. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going, Andrew. And I just kept going. And I made it happen. I saved this company. The show goes on, if you've seen Wolf of Wall Street. But the show went on. And you're listening to this today because of that work that I did. And so that was my journey. That was my rite of passage into manhood. I went from wandering the world as a boy inside of an adult body, into a man on a path and purpose in life, what I call the grounded man. And this brings me to where I am today, talking right now in Pacific Beach, California. And so I've learned quite a bit, and I hope that you found this story compelling. And I want to share with you how I can help you with yours. Knowledge for Men is now doing live men's seminars. And so if you can imagine 3 days of intense personal development training with dozens of other like-minded men, all pursuing greatness in life, business, and in their relationships, like, you're not alone on this journey. Come out and experience the Awakening Live. It's a real cutthroat program designed to give you the tools you need to go from where you are now to where you want to be. And so these are the live events that I'm doing. Okay, last year I was doing retreats, which were smaller. This is now the next version. So these are larger. Instead of 10, 15 guys, it's going to be more like maybe 40 to 60 guys. And so there is still limited space available, but it's already, the next one coming up is soon. It's already filling up quickly. If you're interested in coming out and experiencing a powerful, transformational experience with myself and other like-minded men, go to kfmseminar.com to learn more and get into the program. That's kfmseminar.com. Because you could be telling yourself, like, someday I'm going to go after my dreams. Someday I'm going to take action. But I think the world would be a much better place if we were all inspired to walk our walk, to walk our talk, and be and step into the most powerful version of ourselves. Because if the world wasn't full of uninspiring people, wouldn't that be great? We're all taught that life is tough and that life is hard, but the awful truth is that life is easy. I mean, it's pretty easy to just live and just eat and just do enough, pay your bills. But truly living, chasing your dreams, being the man that you want to be, that's hard. What are you dying to do? What is it that lights a fire in your heart? What do you really want to do? Don't wait till someday to answer that question, because there's nothing more important than figuring that out. Because we're all dying at the end of the day. But if you're not chasing your dreams, if you're not stepping up to the plate and going after what you want in life, you're closer to death. Guys, if you want to take this all to the next level, go to kfmseminar.com to check out the live intensive program for men that will change everything. kfmseminar.com to be a part of a program that will be a catalyst for redefining your life. I hope to see you there. It's going to change lives. It'll be the biggest thing that I've ever done. And if you've been listening, I want to meet you. I want to see you there. You got to walk your talk. You've got to own what you're about. And if you've been listening to this show for some time, it's time to step up. It's time to just make it happen. Everyone has a reason why they can or cannot come out. It's not easy for anyone to just make it out here. I know that. I travel. I go to events across the country. Okay? I know what it's like to have to take off from your work, to spend money on hotel. I know that it's not exactly what you want to do, but if it changes your life, why would you not do it? If you built relationships with other like-minded men for the rest of your life, why would you not do it? I think so many guys are on the journey alone. They listen to the podcast, they read books, all by themselves. They don't have anyone to talk to about this stuff. And when they do talk, no one gets it. They think that you're going crazy. That's not fair. You're trying to grow. You're trying to step up in life. And you can. You totally can. That's one of the main things that you just have to get from this whole episode is that you can change. You can grow. You can step up and play a bigger game in your life. It is completely possible. I'm saying that because I didn't realize that when I had my job. Like I read books and all this, and I just didn't really believe that it was almost like it was all like I was reading a novel. It's like if you're reading like Star Wars or something, you don't really think that this is real. Like obviously it's make believe, right? It's just like you're reading it for entertainment. And I was reading personal development and listening to podcasts like it was entertainment, not like it was something that I could actually do and participate. The what is it? The Winston Churchill quote, the man in the arena quote. Are you a man in the arena, or are you a spectator cheering on others? I think it's time for you to get into the arena, and I'll be there with you, and so will dozens of other men. And we can fight and go on this journey together. And so I want to see you there. Go to kfmseminar.com and you can get started. So the next event's coming up, and it's obviously going to sell out. So check it out now so you don't miss out, because I always have to close the doors on all the last retreats. I had to close the doors, and it's hard for me to do, but I only have so much space. So make it happen for yourself. So that's kfmseminar.com. I want to see you there. I want to meet you. I want to shake your hand. I want to go on this journey together with you. All right, guys. I'll see you guys in the next episode. And until then, crush it.